guys, welcome to Triple T.
We're your hosts, Meeghan and Stephanie.
Today's episode, as we said last week, is all about Britney Spears.
Yes, we are going to discuss the downfall of Britney Spears, the hashtag Free Britney movement, and conspiracies about her.
So I remember Britney Spears is probably the first popular singer I remember listening to when I was little.
Yeah,
and
I
she
agree.
was definitely the first one that I had a CD of.
Yeah, me too. I think she was probably the first CD I ever have. I still remember, I don't know if this was her first CD, I think it was, but that pink one.
That was Oops, I Did It Again. That was my first CD too.
Yeah.
That was her second, right?
Maybe it was her second. I don't know. I just remember that one. That was probably the one I listened to the most, maybe, but yeah.
Me too. I definitely wore that one too.
Yes. So let's just get into the background of her. Britney Spears grew up in a small Louisiana town, but her parents wanted to do more with her talent. She ended up on Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. She was with Justin Timberlake on there, right?
I think so. I can't remember, but I think so.
All right, don't quote me on it. But and then soon after that was when she began her music career. And from the very beginning, she was pretty much sexualized. Something that I'm going to reference a lot in this podcast is there was recently an episode from the New York Times Presents called Framing Britney Spears. And it's pretty much just a documentary of this whole thing that we're talking about. But they showed a bunch of old clips. I mean, you could definitely Google this, look it up on YouTube and stuff. But there's tons of interviews of her very, very young.
Yeah.
And just
the one that sticks in my head is the old guy asking if she had a boyfriend. And she said, no, boys are gross. And he goes, well, what about me?
Yeah,
I'm
that is so
what?
gross.
That's disgusting.
Yeah,
that is so disgusting.
That rubbed me the wrong way. Oh, I hated that.
Ugh.
Yeah, that stuck in my mind,
so gross.
too. I definitely recommend looking up these old interviews because it's so weird. They ask her the most random things and it's okay, you're just sexualizing her. You have no interest in, her as a person, her as an artist.
Yeah. It's even when she was little, because that interview was before that she started her music career, right? She was in a pageant or a skit or something. Yeah. And he was interviewing her after, and I'm like, really? That's just weird. Yeah, she was maybe 12 or 13. Yeah. She was so young. And I mean, her music career started when she was 15 or 16. That's still really young to be sexualizing a woman like that. Mm-hmm. It's just disgusting. Even if,
yeah.
She owned it. She owned her sexuality. She was probably the first young woman in media of the time to own her sexuality. It wasn't normal. Women didn't do that. Even older women.
Yeah, I think that's why a lot of women looked up to her because she was just herself and she just didn't care. And it wasn't something that women were really doing at the time. I mean, there was a couple artists maybe here and there, but from the very beginning, she just owned it.
Exactly. And that's amazing because it shows how powerful she was, and it shows women that they have more power than they think they do over themselves and the way that they are viewed by the rest of the world.
Yeah. And during this time, she became very successful. And at this time, it was really big with boy bands. We had
NSYNC,
Backstreet Boys, they were what everybody was listening to, looking up to, and then Britney Spears somehow came in the scene and she was just as successful. Yeah. And she was a woman.
Yeah. And I mean, that was amazing, especially with boy bands being the big thing at that point. Mm-hmm. And I think due to that, she was always in the media. She was the only woman. She was the only girl.
Right.
So she's always going to be in the media. And she was always, you can see it in the documentary, the amount of paparazzi following her. They they even push her. They were horrible to her. Yeah. It was terrible.
And what's crazy is that nowadays, not that it should be normal, but it's a lot easier to figure out where celebrities are with social media and stuff. And at the time, right. The amount of people that were just following her and knew where she was 24/7, without all of that social media is insane. She was pretty much being stalked by the media and paparazzi.
Right, it was terrible. I mean, I can't imagine feeling how she did, but I kind of understand, when you hear her talk about it, she doesn't feel safe. Like, I wouldn't feel safe with all those older men and women following me around. That's too sketchy.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
So when we're talking about her downfall in this episode, we're literally using that so loosely because I don't believe it was a downfall per se. I just think that, she had a rough time. And everybody's got terrible times, but since she was so in the media, everybody's like, oh, that's it. Britney Spears is over. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I honestly, with, like you said, her downfall, I don't even, think it really affected her career because, her music was still,
amazing.
On, top charts. Yeah. Everyone was still, enjoying it. Without the media even talking about any of this, you would have never known from her music.
Exactly.
I mean, in terms of references, yes, but, her music was
in terms of her success, yeah.
Yeah, in terms of her success, it was still, she never missed a beat.
And, I mean, we also have to think about this was the early 2000s. People didn't talk about their mental health openly back then. I mean, it was only 2004 is when her downfall started. That's not even 20 years ago.
Right.
The world has changed so much. Everybody is so open about their mental health. And I think that if the world had been like this when this happened to Britney, it wouldn't be as much of a downfall as the media called it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. So apparently her downfall started when she met and married Kevin Federline in 2004.
Yes.
She had their first son, Sean Preston, in September 2005. And in early 2006, she was photographed by the crazy paparazzi with him on her lap while she was driving. Mm-hmm. And she blames the paparazzi, which I get. She said she was scared. She said they just came out of nowhere as she was I think she said she was at a drive-thru or something. I don't remember.
Yeah.
And she just grabbed him and started driving. And she said that seemed normal because her dad did that with her when she was little. I mean, she grew up in a small Louisiana town. There are no rules in the country. I mean, we grew up in country, as you might call it.
Right.
People were riding in the back of pickup trucks. You're not supposed to do that. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's normal. So, of course, she thought, I mean, she was still young, too.
Yeah.
She was still in her early 20s. So she's thinking, oh, well, my dad did this. It's fine.
Well, I'm even thinking, if I put myself in her shoes and, say, my dad never did that. I mean, he hasn't, I don't think. I don't know. But
I wouldn't put it past you.
Yeah, that's why I said, well, maybe. I don't know. But, I just think, there's paparazzi, up against your vehicle, banging on the windows. I would just feel safer having my kid in my arms until we get out of that situation.
Right.
So I don't blame her for acting the way she was.
He wasn't even a year old when this was happening.
Yeah.
He was probably, maybe 6 months-ish. I don't know. I don't have the exact number written down, but he was still, I mean, if you have strangers banging on your vehicle and your child's in the back, you want him near you. You want to be able to protect him. You don't want him vulnerable. I mean, I would feel like my child is so vulnerable if that was happening.
Imagine if someone got into that back seat and was able to, I don't know, pick him up.
Exactly.
Or, what if they broke the window and the glass shattered all over him? Just her holding him in her arms, I think, was probably the safest thing she probably could have done.
And I mean, some of the paparazzi, they interviewed one of them in that documentary, and he seemed like an okay kind of guy. But a lot of paparazzi, they don't care. They don't care about the safety. They just care about getting the story.
Yeah.
And, they were crazy with Britney Spears. Yep. They would have done anything to get her to talk to them.
There was one guy that was interviewed in the Framing Britney Spears, and what was so weird to me is that, he was talking about how much, he respected her and how they had, a good relationship. But then he was saying things like, well, I never knew that she didn't want me, around and stuff. And I don't know how you don't, realize that as working with paparazzi,
Right.
Sure, there are times that maybe someone's going to be nice to you, but at the end of the day, no one wants to be followed like that. No one wants to be photographed at all times during the day. And, poor girl.
Yeah, I feel so badly for her. So later in 2006, her second son, Jaden James, was born 2 days short of a year after Sean was born. So they're literal Irish twins. They just right away. And then in November of 2006, just 2 short months later, Britney filed for divorce with Kevin and petitioned for sole custody. And when Kevin finds out, he also petitioned for sole custody. So in 2007, the couple agreed to joint custody in January of 2007. And then in February of 2007, Britney checked into rehab and checked out a day later.
Yeah. And I feel like this is like, I mean, I know it started back when we talked about when she married Kevin Federline in 2004, but here I feel like is when people started to call her like crazy and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And this is when the paparazzi got even crazier about following her around because, I mean, a big, huge divorce and custody battles in the media. That's great headlines. You're going to make a lot of money off of that. So, of course, the paparazzi was psycho at this point.
Right. So, during this time, right after she checked out of rehab was when she ended up shaving her head. And a lot of people just looked at that as like, oh, wow, she's gone crazy. Like, I don't
know. I'm just saying, like, shaving your head is not that bad of a thing. Maybe she just had a hair problem and her hair was falling out. She just wanted a fresh start, whatever.
Right. But something I really liked about that documentary, Framing Britney Spears, was that I like how they talked about the mindset that she was in at the time, like why she shaved her head, because no one ever really knew. Everyone's like, oh, she's going crazy. She's just like shaving her head. But she talked about how, like, she just didn't want people, like, touching her hair and stuff. Like, she just wanted to get her own power back.
Exactly. And I love that.
Yeah. So shaving her head was something that she felt like, I don't know, she felt liberated, I guess.
Yeah, I would too.
Okay, so February to March 2007 was when she completed a rehab program. Was any of this, like, public at the time? I don't remember hearing about it.
I mean, I was only 11, so
True. We
don't
were
know
very
if
young.
I would have paid attention to it. I don't know if I would have paid attention to it, but I don't remember hearing about her going into rehab.
Yeah, I don't either.
I remember, like, saying that she went to, a psychiatric hospital, but I don't remember hearing her going into rehab.
Yeah, I don't either. And then the end of March 2007 was when Kevin and Britney, they reached a settlement and they shared custody of the children 50-50. Take note of that for later on.
So through 2007... a lot of things happened.
Yeah.
She was photographed, of course, by the paparazzi. I mean, I know they're just doing their job, but I just feel like they could be, a little bit more empathetic.
Right.
She was photographed partying with Paris Hilton and Lindsay Lohan. And fun fact, I actually read an article yesterday where Paris Hilton said Lindsay Lohan wasn't even invited. Oh. I don't remember how she said she ended up there, but Lindsay Lohan wasn't invited with them. It was supposed to just be Britney and Paris. And I was like, oh, okay.
At the time, partying with Paris Hilton and Lindsay Lohan didn't look good.
And I mean, that's also when she was photographed with no underwear on. And, some girls just like that free feeling. It's not her fault.
Some girls just want to have fun.
Exactly. Like, let her live her life. Like, it's not her fault that the paparazzi are literally trying every single angle to get a photo of her. And as she's scooting out of a vehicle, you see she's not wearing underwear. Of course the paparazzi's going to see that. They're literally taking pictures of her from up, down, side to side, every angle they possibly can. So, I mean, that's on the paparazzi. That's not on Britney.
Right.
She also was driving illegally. She didn't have a California driver's license, I think, and hit a car and left the scene. So she did a hit and run pretty much. A couple months later, she did turn herself in for this and was charged with 2 misdemeanor counts of hit and run.
Mm-hmm. And there was tons of claims of child abuse brought by her former bodyguard, Tony Barretto. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. And then she lost custody of her children, but she was able to still see them on supervised visits. Mm-hmm. And then she hit another car later that year. So it wasn't a good year.
No. And then after that, she was told by the court, I think because of the custody agreement, that she had to start doing random drug testing. Mm-hmm. I think she almost always complied with that. I think there was only one instance of argument with it, but I don't remember. I didn't write note of that. So in January 2008, Britney's lawyers actually backed out as counsel from the custody case. I think because Britney she was really fighting. She wanted to have her children with her. So they backed out. They didn't feel comfortable representing her anymore. And at this point, Britney Spears refused to give her sons back to Kevin Federline's representatives after she had a supervised visit. So But that's not good.
Yeah.
Police were called. Police came to the house, and they thought that she was under the influence of an unidentified substance. So they actually had her taken away by ambulance. She was hospitalized at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. And the following day, Britt's visitation rights were held at an emergency court hearing, and Kevin Federline was given full custody. So she wasn't even able to see her kids.
Right.
After this, she was committed to the psychiatric ward of Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center and put on a 5150 involuntary psychiatric hold under California state law. She was released 5 days later.
Yes. And then this is when we get into the conservatorship that she is in.
Yeah, so that all started in 2008.
Mm-hmm. So.
Which, I mean, what's that? 13 years?
Sure.
I can't math.
This is not a math podcast.
But we would know.
But before we get into that, I guess we should just talk about what actually is a conservatorship.
In case you don't know already.
Right. It's when a guardian or protector is appointed by a judge to manage the financial affairs and or daily life of another due to physical or mental limitations or old age, which is one of the most common.
Yeah.
A conservator might only be over the financial affairs, but can also be over the person. And according to most law experts, it is unusual for someone so young and productive to be under a conservatorship, as they are usually used to protect the old, infirm, and mentally disabled. They are usually intended for people who are not likely to get better and remain in effect until the person dies.
So these are things that don't happen to young women.
It's not common.
Young, successful women
like I
do
said,
not get placed under conservatorships.
Usually when someone is at an old age is when they usually use a conservatorship. I mean, there are certain
It's usually
cases,
for,
but
like, you know, people with dementia or some kind of other mental disability that they can't manage their life and their finances. And, you know, sometimes it's just to take care of finances, like if somebody's not able to manage that properly. So
right.
This was weird. This was, I mean, nobody really, I don't remember hearing about this either when it started.
I don't remember either.
I have zero memory of this.
Yeah.
Again,
same.
we were young, so maybe we weren't paying attention to it.
Right.
But I don't remember hearing about this.
Yeah, I feel like the only thing that was in the media was like, Britney's still making music, but she's also crazy. Like, that's all I was really hearing about.
That's all I remember too. So in 2008, the court placed Britney Spears under a conservatorship led by her father, Jamie Spears, and an attorney, Andrew Wallet, giving them complete control of her assets and pretty much her life. Jamie was appointed conservator over her estate and her well-being, and Andrew Wallet was brought on as co-conservator to help manage her finances. And I mean, to be fair, they did really well. I mean, she exploded. Her finances are amazing now. But it's just, again, she was young.
Yeah. It's weird to me, though, because, like, as you've been listening to this, we haven't mentioned Jamie Spears because he really was not a part of her life.
No.
I mean, he was obviously still her father, but, like, her whole...
He didn't really have anything to do with her success.
Yeah, he was not part of her success at
go
all.
on tours with her.
And so he just kind of came out of left field with all of this, I felt like.
Exactly. Yeah, I think so, too. He had complete control over negotiating business opportunities, selling her property, and restricting visitors. He also can file restraining orders against the people that he thinks threaten Britney's stability. And all of Britney's purchases, I learned this today, have to be logged in annual court reports of her spending.
Oh, that's
Isn't that
weird.
Crazy? Right?
Oh, I hate that.
Right? So he literally had complete control over her life. He could restrict who was coming and going, where Britney was going. He could sign deals on her behalf. Yeah. It was just insane.
And then we're going to kind of skip a big chunk of time because all that was really going on. Between 2008 and 2019, she was still releasing music. She did performances. She had a Las Vegas residency, but there wasn't anything huge that we really need to cover during those times until 2019.
Yeah. I really don't remember. And honestly, I don't remember hearing about her from her crazy head shaving incident. Me personally, her crazy head shaving incident until she was in that song with will.i.am. What is it called? Scream and Shout.
Oh, that's right.
I don't remember hearing about her between those two periods. And I mean, that's a fairly new song.
Yeah.
I think it's 2016.
Is it? I thought it was older than that.
I'm checking it. It might be older than that.
I thought it was like 2011, 2012.
2012. 2012. Okay.
It was 2016.
Whatever, kid. It was 2012. So that one's from 2012. I don't remember hearing anything about her from like 2007 when she shaved her head to 2012. That's a big chunk of life.
Yeah, I was really only hearing like songs that were being released. I didn't hear any sort of stuff in the media so much other than like them just saying like she's crazy.
Right, exactly.
And then 2019 was kind of when her conservatorship, I feel like, started growing in the public and people started to really know about it. Because like we had mentioned before, I don't remember learning about it back when it started. Like I mean, maybe they talked about it. I don't know. Maybe I was just too young, but I have no memory of that happening. I don't either.
I have no idea.
So 2019 was when the public really started to learn about it and talk about it. And then January 4th, 2019, this was a big thing. I do remember this in the media. Britney announced an indefinite work hiatus and the cancellation of her new Las Vegas residency. I do remember her announcing her indefinite work hiatus. Because I know a lot of people that are just really big fans of Britney. I mean, I love Britney, but I wasn't like... As I got older, I probably wasn't like her super fan. But I do remember her announcing that and people being really upset by it. Right. Because at the time, she didn't really give any sort of like reason. Right? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so. Well, from the documentary, because I don't remember it at all, but from the documentary, she was there to announce it. She came out on stage,
just
didn't
out.
Say a word, and then just walked out stage and left. And I was like, what? Like, if I had been paying attention, I would have been so confused, so shocked.
Yeah. Imagine being there.
Yeah. Exactly.
And you're like
you paid all that money to be there.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa. Like, just watching it on the documentary, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
And then later on, it was announced that due to her father, Jamie, suffering a near fatal colon rupture, that was the reason for it. But that wasn't, I don't believe that. But at the time, they didn't even announce that for a little while. Like, that wasn't, like we said, she just got on stage and just, like, walked.
It's almost like Britney got sick of doing what she was told to do and just decided to take her life back, maybe?
Yeah.
That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like she decided not until I have full control over my life am I going to release music.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what I think. I don't think it had anything to do with her father. I mean, maybe we're wrong, but I don't think we are.
Exactly.
And then Britney entered a psychiatric facility amidst all the stress, which, again, is still kind of weird to me.
Yeah.
So... there's that. And then Andrew Wallet resigned as co-conservator. I mean, the whole timing of all this is just weird.
And this was actually right after he had asked for this huge raise. And I think he was granted the raise.
Yeah.
But then he resigned. And as, like, compensation for his resignation, which I don't know why he had to be compensated to resign, but whatever, he was given $100,000. And I'm like, that's weird too. But okay. I'm no legal expert.
Yes. And then this is where things got really weird. So there's this fan podcast called Britney's Gram. And they released a voicemail message from what they say is a very, very credible source. And it was claiming to be a former member of Britney's legal team. Saying that allegedly, that Jamie had canceled the planned residency due to Britney's refusal to take her medication that she had been holding in her facility against her will since January 2019 after she violated a no driving rule, and that her conservatorship was supposed to end in 2009. So, this is when allegations started to rise with the hashtag Free Britney.
Now, honestly, I didn't even know what the heck was. I still, at this point, had no idea what was going on. And I saw hashtag Free Britney, and I was like, what the heck?
Yeah, at this point, I didn't either. I mean, like last I said, that I knew about her indefinite work hiatus, but I didn't realize, like, what was going on, why that happened. Like,
I still didn't know about the conservatorship at this point.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is when the hashtag Free Britney movement really started. Was it started due to the podcast?
I don't know. I'm not positive.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure where exactly the hashtag came from and how it started, but this was around when it started.
I mean, but it was also 2019. Everybody was saying hashtag this, hashtag that. So maybe it was just,
right.
Hashtag Free Britney as like a joke, but not like a joke, but like a joke.
It was probably just like a fun like hashtag to do, and then it turned into like this big movement.
Yeah, it's a huge movement now. Yeah. April 22nd, 2019, fans actually protested outside of West Hollywood City Hall and demanded that Britney be released from the facility. Later that month, she left. I assume that, she was discharged like normal. And then in May 2019, an expert evaluation of the conservatorship was ordered. So, to backtrack on this conservatorship, so in the documentary, which we're going to reference a lot because that's most of where I got my information from, there was a lawyer that Britney had tried to hire, and he had said that the court was not giving any information, any of the medical records, anything about why Jamie was granted this conservatorship. We don't know why Jamie was given this conservatorship. Right. Why is Britney under a conservatorship? We don't know.
Right.
Like, we don't know exactly what was going on behind the scenes that would allow a judge to be like, okay, yeah, you can control her life. That's just...
Yeah. Sketchy.
It's crazy. It's sketchy. So that's why the expert evaluation of the conservatorship was ordered. Somebody needed to see, is it still necessary? Was it even necessary to begin with?
Right.
Is it, effective? Things like that.
It's like a long time coming, though.
For real. I mean, it's been 11 years at this point. 11 years under the conservatorship at this point. Yeah. I think she's just in her 30s?
Yeah. So
she's still young. And she's still performing like nonstop, still releasing music. Why is she still under conservatorship? So this was ordered. And then in September of 2019, Kevin Federline obtained a restraining order against Jamie Spears because allegedly there was a physical altercation between Jamie and one of Britney's sons.
Which...
I don't remember hearing about that.
I don't either. And I'm shocked
that we... Which is crazy.
Yeah, I'm surprised that we didn't. And I'm not saying that it didn't happen because I don't know and I don't want to speculate on something that serious. But it is kind of strange that, that didn't make, big headlines.
The paparazzi has been following this girl around since she was 16 years old. Following her family after she gets married and has babies.
Right.
And then we don't hear about something like this?
Yeah. That's strange.
Weird.
And then August 2020 was when Jamie called the Free Britney movement a joke and its organizers conspiracy theorists. This was the first time he ever really spoke out about the whole Free Britney movement, which is also weird because, like I said, it had been going on since 2019. And I don't know if this is his way of trying to shut it down, let's not talk about this anymore.
Right.
But it is weird that Jamie's the one speaking out on the Free Britney movement and not Britney herself.
Yeah, exactly. And also calling its organizers conspiracy theorists, a good way to discredit somebody is to call them conspiracy theorists, whether they're telling the truth or not.
Right.
So that's just one way for him to be like, oh no, these people aren't credible. They don't know what they're talking about. To shut them down, to make them stop talking.
And what's really sad is that, these aren't people just, talking about Britney and speculating on her. These are people who actually care about her and, want her to have the freedom of doing whatever it is that she wants to do with her career and life.
Right.
And
it's insane that her fans seem to care more about her life than her family.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, even... her mom. I haven't heard anything about her mom speaking about it.
I haven't either.
And Jamie, I think she's only said a couple of, not a lot, though.
Her sister?
Yeah, her sister Jamie.
Yeah, she had spoken out once, I believe. Pretty much just saying, she didn't want to talk about it, because I guess people were just, bombarding her with questions.
Right.
Her brother spoke out about it. I believe it was in the documentary.
Right, yes.
That was weird. The way that he was, wording things, I don't know.
It was almost like a robot, almost scripted.
Yeah, he was pretty much Well, first he, like, was making jokes, like...
Right.
Which is weird, because it's a serious thing.
Like, and he was like, oh, Britney would have told me if she wasn't comfortable.
Yeah. And then he was, like, backtracking on things he was saying. It was strange.
It was odd.
But it was very strange. Those are the only times that I believe people have really spoken up about it, like, in her family. Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, I mean, even old coworkers, backup dancers, you can see it in the documentary. Mm-hmm. They all talk about it and about how strange it is that she's still fairly successful.
Yeah.
I mean, for somebody who just came about in the early 2000s, it's 2021. Yep. She is still way up there.
And that's pretty much all we're going to talk about in terms of that, because it's still ongoing.
There is so much, like, every time we had postponed this
podcast
for a week. Yeah, we postponed this podcast for a week because I was like, there is still so much going on. And even as we were finishing up the last of our research last night, we were both like, yeah, no, there's so like, much. There's a new article every hour. It's ridiculous.
We're like, we'll just cut it here and I'm sure we'll do some sort of update in the future. Because there's got to be some sort of conclusion to all of this.
Oh, hopefully, for sure.
At some point.
Fingers crossed. It's just insane. So just keep an eye on the media, see what's being reported, and hopefully we'll circle back when something's finalized. Yeah. If anything ever gets finalized.
Right. So let's talk about conspiracies that we know about her in terms of this or not in terms of this.
So the biggest conspiracy I know about is the sound of her singing voice. Mm-hmm. I mean, I remember, it must have been a Shane Dawson video you had sent me that I was watching where he talks about her singing voice. And I was like, oh, that's not real. And then even just watching the documentary, seeing her sing as a child versus what she sounded like when she got popular versus what she sounds like now.
Yeah, it's like very different.
It's all very different. And even, it's not even just her singing voice either. It's her talking voice.
Yeah.
Because you hear her talking as a child and, you know, she sounds like a cute little country girl. Mm-hmm. And then even as a teenager, she sounds like a cute little country girl, but her voice is a little bit of a higher pitch.
Yeah.
And then now she like talks in baby voice. If you see her Instagram videos that she posts, and I'm like, that's a little weird.
Yeah. And what's weird is that, like, this was probably in a Shane Dawson video because he's done a lot of conspiracy videos regarding Britney. But there was a clip of her singing that just seemed a little weird. Like, it almost seemed, like, sped up.
Right.
And so fans slowed it down and it almost seems more natural.
Right.
And it sounds like her old singing voice.
Yep.
Now, this could literally just be a coincidence, but it's a weird one.
I mean, I know we grew up in the age of auto-tune and everybody's voice is not sounding like what they do in person, but it's just a little weird.
And then also,
why would her talking voice change?
Right.
I understand her singing voice sounding different. I mean, even when we went to concerts like 5 Seconds Summer, One Direction, they sound very different compared to their recording voices in concert. Versus like, but they don't sound different when you listen to interviews and heard them talking on stage. Their talking did not sound different. And you're like, well.
And going off of that, there are some also like, some conspiracies saying how because of the way her voice was in the very beginning when she was singing like, Oops, I Did It Again, and stuff like that, that because it works so well, they wanted to keep her on brand and have her continue singing like that, which I can kind of get behind because I know that people do that. They try to keep you on some sort of brand if it's working.
Right.
But they also say that because she was trying to do a voice that was just straining so much
that she ruined her
vocal cords, and that's why she doesn't sing live. Because she can't sing at all anymore. Which, that could make sense too.
I get it.
So, I don't know. I mean, it could be for so many reasons. Maybe it's just as simple as it worked, so she just keeps doing it. Maybe it's not even her voice, never was.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, it could literally be anything.
Yeah.
But it's strange. If you look back on old videos of her singing, she had a very deep voice.
Yeah, her voice was beautiful. Not that I don't enjoy her pop voice, but her voice, like, she had true talent.
Yeah,
I can see why her parents wanted her to get into something, because that would have been not a waste of talent, but like you can, that was a money voice.
Right.
That was a money voice.
Right. Now, some of the newer conspiracies that I found. Now, these could all be coincidences, but...
That's what they say.
So, this is probably one of the most popular recently. I don't have a date of when this happened. You could probably easily look back on her Instagram because it was not that long ago. But, you know, she was posting weird photos and videos on Instagram. You could look at it. They seem kind of strange, like, especially like the videos of her talking. Like, she just seems not there. Like, almost.
Yeah.
It's so unnatural. Like, she's being forced.
Right.
But anyway, people started to pick up on how weird these posts were, and somebody had commented, wear yellow in your next Instagram post if you need help. And a lot of people liked this comment, so it was at, like, the top.
Right.
And then her next Instagram post was her wearing a yellow top. Now, she could be trolling. Maybe she saw that comment and was like, I'm just gonna mess with them and wear a yellow top. Maybe she never saw the comment. But it's strange. It's too much of a coincidence. I mean...
That's just odd, yeah.
Because you weren't seeing her wearing this top before this happened.
Right.
Now she wears it all the time.
Really?
Yeah, if you look at her Instagram, like, she's just wearing the same yellow top. I think at one point she mentions it's, like, her favorite top or something, but it's strange. It's very strange. If it's
her favorite top, why wasn't she wearing it before?
Right. So... one of the most recent ones that I found, I don't remember what I was watching and how I found this, but she has a workout video, I'm sure it's still up on her Instagram, of her and her boyfriend. They're working out, and if you slow it down, you can see him telling her to smile. And it was almost like, in that moment, she changed her whole face and was like, let me smile for the camera. And... he could have just been saying that, like, don't look so miserable in the video, like, just smile, you know, just, like, joking, but...
right.
It's a little weird, because there are a lot of conspiracies that him and Britney's father are controlling her posts, so that can kind of intertwine with that. I don't know, could just be a random moment where he says, like, oh, just smile, but it is very strange how she literally went from... looking miserable almost, working out, to just, like, putting on a fake smile. It was strange. You can look that up. Another thing that I recently found was, after the whole Framing Britney documentary came out, she posted, and this is probably one of her last posts as of recording this, where it's an old photo of her, it's a throwback photo, and she's pretty much just talking about, like, how she's appreciating her past, and how it was such a dream at the time, and, like, it's just weird, because it almost seemed like she was implying, like, I saw the documentary, and that's not true, like, I actually had a really good, like, life, and, like, I don't know, it almost seemed forced, like, someone told her, like, you should post this to kind of say that, like, everything in that documentary is not true. Right. Could be also a coincidence, but it's a weird one.
So I went to look for the yellow top. I see it a couple of times, but I found, I think probably the post that you're talking about where she posted it in it first.
Yeah.
And her caption says, yellow, hello, what's your favorite color? And people are commenting saying, we know your favorite color is absolutely not yellow.
Ooh.
And I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
Yeah.
And somebody was like, look at the caption. Sounds like, hello, what's your emergency is like what she's trying to say.
Literally.
I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's
my
weird.
Gosh.
It does feel like
Insane.
A lot of her posts are either forced or some sort of message.
Scripts, yeah. Like, so the forced ones feel scripted. Like it almost looks like she's even reading something off screen. To say it.
She does look off screen a lot.
Like with her dancing videos and things like that when she talks before or after them. It's just, it's weird.
And also something that's weird are her dancing videos. Just because, like, I know looking back on music videos and performances, she dances very differently. Now, I'm sure she doesn't choreograph her own stuff.
Right.
But something's weird about her dancing videos, as if either this is her only freedom and she's just having a good time.
Right.
Or she's being forced to do it to make it seem like she's okay, but something about it does feel a little unnatural.
Yeah, I agree. When I first Because I had been following her, and then somehow I ended up not following her. So when we were doing the research, I had refollowed her. Mm-hmm. But I was going through her posts just to see, like, you know, the general message that I was getting from them. And her dancing videos just kind of rub me. They're weird. They rub me the wrong way. Yeah. And, like, maybe she's expressing her freedom. And, you know, then I get that weird feeling because if people saw us dancing, they would be like, oh, weird. But, like, I don't know. It's just, she doesn't seem herself. Because if she doesn't seem like the same Britney that we saw when we were younger.
Yeah, when you look back on old, like, interviews of her and stuff, like, she's a very different person then than she is now in these videos on her Instagram.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
She could have changed over the years, very possible, but it's a very big change.
And like we said, we hate to speculate on this stuff, but there's a lot of conspiracy surrounding this because not all of the information is out there. We don't know all of the truth as they're calling it, so we don't really know. So all we can do is speculate. All we can do is theorize about what's going on.
And something that what is it, the Britney Graham podcast? Yeah, Britney's Graham. Something that they mentioned, which I thought was interesting, where they said, you know, had Britney just come out and said, like, hey guys, like, I'm actually okay. You guys don't have to worry anymore. Like, we would all stop.
Exactly.
But because she hasn't said anything, it makes us think, like, something actually is going on. Like, it's that simple for her to just hop on Instagram or something, post a video and be like, hey guys, just want to let you know, I see, like, the hashtag and all that stuff. I see the documentaries. I hear and see everything. Just letting you know, I am safe. Nothing weird is going on. But, like, we aren't getting that. So
I feel like also if she had done that, we wouldn't believe it anyway. Because we feel like she's being so controlled.
Maybe has she said it years ago, maybe.
Right.
But, like, at this point, no, we probably would not.
Yeah, exactly.
I would think, like, oh, her father's behind this. He's forcing her to do this.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I don't know. It's crazy. It's just, there's so much information. I encourage you to do a lot of research if you want to learn more about this. Watch the documentaries. I mean, that New York Times one was eye-opening. I didn't know half the stuff in that.
Right. Oh, I think we forgot to mention, you can find that on Hulu.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That's where it was?
Yes, it's on Hulu.
That's where you can find it.
It's season 1, episode 6 of the New York Times Presents.
Yeah.
You can Google it. It'll come up.
At one point, someone did upload it on YouTube. It's probably been taken down since, but
I'm sure.
It was free on YouTube at one point.
Yeah.
So
do you have any tea for the week, Stephanie?
I do.
Of course you do. You always have tea.
Okay, so my tea, it's not super hot because it's happened a couple months ago.
So we have iced tea.
It's not that cold.
So it's like you left your tea sitting out for an hour.
Yeah.
Okay,
that kind of tea.
Got it.
So I don't have exact dates of when this happened, but I do know at some point in 2020 was when it started, and it ended, I believe, not July. Why did I say July? January 2021. For those who don't know, Kellyanne Conway, she was part of the Trump administration. I don't know much information on her. I just know her name, and she spoke a lot, and she was part of Trump. I don't know.
Part of Trump.
She was part of Trump somehow. But anyway, she has a daughter named Claudia Conway. And Claudia Conway, I believe she was on, like, American Idol or something at one point, but that's not what she was really known for. I mean, she was just literally known for Kellyanne Conway's daughter. Mm-hmm. But she became, like, a pretty big TikToker. You can look her up. And last year, she started posting, like, weird TikToks of, like, her fights with her mom. And at first, people were like, oh, you know, daughter, mother, they fight, blah, blah, blah. Right. It was, like, pretty big because Kellyanne Conway was big, so it did end up in the media. But things started to get worse because, like, she would post videos of her not even saying anything and just her mom screaming at her. And, like, it was crazy. Like, literally, like, screaming at her, saying how awful she is, calling her a bitch and stuff, and, like, bad. Yeah, bad. Now, at this time, she was still part of the administration, too. I mean, she has since left. And also, Trump is not president, but... but anyway, crazy. Like, she was literally posting these videos, like, crying out for help. She's only 16 years old. And she was just like posting these videos, and there was like some videos where like her mom called the police on her, and like there was also a weird incident where the police were like, just take her phone away, take the internet away, and like this poor girl is like crying out for help, and like no one is helping her. Yeah, weird stuff. And
I feel like I heard about this.
And then in January, I believe this is what happened in January. In January of this year, there was a bunch of fans that were like commenting on her videos or sending her messages saying, your mom posted a nude of you on Twitter.
What?
Yeah,
I do remember this. I do remember hearing about this.
And this is how she found out. Like, she didn't even see it on Twitter. It was taken down by the time she made it to her mom's Twitter or whatever. But that was how she found out about it, because fans were like saying like, your mom tweeted, like, it was like a topless photo of her, but still, she's literally 16. I don't know how old she was when that photo was taken, but still, either way, minor.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And her mom was saying like that she was hacked and that like this photo was posted by accident, but it was weird timing because she was already having issues with her daughter.
And why would you have that photo?
Exactly.
Like, who would have that photo
and
that would hack this political person? Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. And Claudia was saying that like, this isn't, like, she didn't have the photo of her like topless. She took the photo that was on Twitter was as if someone was taking a photo of her phone with the photo.
What?
So it wasn't just the photo itself. Like, you could see Claudia's phone with the photo on it. And she was saying what she believes is that, like, her mom used to take away her phone a lot. So she's thinking one of the times that her mom took away the phone, that she took a photo of the nude on her photo, and I don't know if she was going to use it against her somehow. I don't know. Either way, that's, like, considered revenge porn.
Yeah, for real. That's horrible.
And she was, like, freaking out. Like, at first, like, when she was told about it by fans, she was like, no, like, you guys are joking. And then, like, when she starts to realize that, like, everyone's saying, like, yeah, we saw it, she starts to, like, panic. Like, oh my god, like, all these people just saw a topless photo of me on my mom's Twitter.
And that's insane, because I'm sure a lot of people, not even just her fans, followed her mom because her mom was in the Trump administration.
Right. And
oh my gosh.
Yeah, crazy. And so it was quickly deleted. I don't know how many people saw it, and I don't know if you could Google it now. Hopefully not.
Right.
But
yeah, I hope not.
Then, as this was going on, she posted a weird TikTok. I don't know if it's still on TikTok, but she was like... You're gonna look it up.
I am. What's her name? Claudia Conway?
Yes. And I don't know what her name is on TikTok. I don't know if it's that or something else.
You can find her that way. She's verified.
Okay. Anyway, she was like, she posted this TikTok saying like, you know, if there ends up being a video of me posted saying like I was leaving the internet or I take down videos or something weird like that, just know that it's not my doing, that someone is forcing me to do that. Which was very strange. She posted that. Couple months go by, and her dad posted on Twitter a video of Claudia and said Claudia wanted me to post this on her behalf. And it's a video of Claudia saying, I just want to let you guys know that I love my mom. We just fight like mother and daughter. And
I remember hearing about that too.
And she was pretty much saying like, you know, I know my mom wouldn't post a nude on purpose of me, and like, pretty much, like, denying everything that was going on.
Right.
And this was right after the TikTok of her saying that if this happens, this is not her and it's forced. And after that video got out, she left TikTok for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
And she deleted all the videos of all the fights with her mom. You can find it on YouTube. So
right.
You can definitely look this up. They still exist somewhere, but they are not on her TikTok anymore. And apparently things are fine, but it was very strange, the whole thing. So she ended up resigning before Trump stopped being the president, but the whole thing was very strange. I don't believe that she was fighting just like a regular mother and daughter. Like, they were really bad fights that she was posting. Like, you could definitely look it up on YouTube, but that is my tea. That was really crazy for me to find out because I didn't know about any of that. I think, honestly, the whole thing kind of just started because she was very public about, like, her political views, and they did not align with her mom.
Of course.
And her mom being in the Trump administration probably didn't make her look good.
Right.
And so that was probably a big problem in their relationship, and it just got worse from there. But, yeah, I don't know how it didn't get, like, bigger than it was. Like, I don't know. Like, I only found out about it because someone talked about it on YouTube. Like, I didn't actually hear about it from the media, which is strange. Because I feel like something like that should have been bigger. But I don't think anything ever came out of it. Like, I don't think her mom ever got in trouble for anything she did. I don't think the daughter ever left the house. She was only 16. So, like, I don't know. Very strange.
All right. Hold on.
Hi guys,
are you looking it up?
This immediately. I wasn't going to talk about this account on my page for the safety of the woman running it. Let me start off by saying that I've never been more grateful to anyone for their generosity, their time, their effort, and their protection than I have for, I'm not going to say her name, but the owner of...
This woman has a page on TikTok that says Justice for Claudia Conway. That's her expressing her thanks for that. Wow, okay. I'm going to have to look into that more.
Definitely should. Crazy.
All right, so, my tea. Which I'm shocked you haven't told me about.
Maybe I know it. I don't know.
When I said the Grammys, you didn't think about it. But of course, Nick Jonas is hosting, so of course you wouldn't think of anything else. So, my tea is that The Weeknd is boycotting the Grammys moving forward.
Okay, I knew that.
And
I didn't look into it, though.
He's not putting any more work forward for contention.
That I didn't know.
So he, I know yesterday I was reading a BuzzFeed article. I think I saw Justin Bieber in the title. I don't remember. And it was all these artists speaking out against the Grammys. Like, you don't even have me as a nominee. Like Nicki Minaj. Mostly people of color talking about it and how they're not being nominated. So I was just like, oh, well, you know, racism, the usual, whatever. Used to it, unfortunately. I don't watch Grammys anyway, so. But when I saw this #1 trending on Twitter this morning, I was like, whoa, that's huge. Because, I mean, the Grammys is how everybody's like, that's how people really see you're the best in music. You win a Grammy. Right. So when The Weeknd was like, no, not going to be watching them, not even going to let my work go towards the Grammys, I was like, wow, that's insane. Yeah. And, I mean, I get it because I don't know if this is true, but any chance to hate on Taylor Swift, I'll take it. When Taylor Swift re-recorded her album, and they said that it would be up for a Grammy nomination, and The Weeknd isn't even getting a nomination, like, The Weeknd is still putting out, not that Taylor Swift isn't. Right. I'm not going to defend Taylor Swift here because I don't love her, but... like, he's still putting out brand new music, and it's just... He said that he received no nominations, and it's because there are secret committees that determine which artists are nominated for the awards. And I mean, that's just a big, huge conspiracy in itself that I'd love to look into because it wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, I think it would definitely be a cool topic to talk about because I don't even think just the Grammys, like other award shows regarding like music. Yeah. I've definitely heard that there's, I wish I could remember who it was, but where they, and not even just people of color, where they just don't nominate people like Ariana Grande or like big,
like talented people,
like big artists that like people are listening to right now aren't being nominated, and it just doesn't make sense.
However, if you think about it, it's probably not even just music, because Leonardo DiCaprio has been acting forever. He never won anything until what, like 2 years ago? Like, that's just insane to me because he's a great actor. Like, I mean, how could you not?
Yeah, I don't even think it's like a conspiracy. I think it's very well known that these award shows are pretty rigged, and someone behind the scenes is just making these decisions. But it's weird decisions they're making. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're leaving Ariana Grande out of an award show when she just released 2 albums in 1 year with like how many top charting songs, and she's not nominated at all. I mean, that's weird.
Exactly. And I mean, so if the Jonas Brothers aren't nominated, like, no, I'm just kidding.
Like, honestly, I don't blame The Weeknd, and I'm actually really glad that he's doing that, because I think it'll help other artists out in the long run if they're all not, like, if they're all doing exactly what he's doing.
You know, like, people need to stand up for what they believe in. And not that, you know, The Weeknd is the best around, but like...
Right.
Like, it's just... Award shows to me are rigged. For sure. You could tell. Yeah. But like, it's just not right. You're not showcasing people who deserve to be showcased in these award shows. Like, I can't even remember an example, but I remember watching award shows and being like, oh, they still do music? Like, where did they come from? Like, what? It's insane. Yeah. So I'm also glad that The Weeknd is doing it because it's just not right.
Yeah, it's always
hopefully it'll open it up for everybody
so weird
else.
To me. Like, I know that I'm not always going to agree whoever gets the award for different categories. Everybody has their own taste in music, but like, sometimes I look at categories and I'm like, how did they make it in that category and this person didn't?
Right.
When I hear their music on the radio all the time and not this person.
Right, exactly. Like, it's just mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
So that's my tea, which is actually tea and not nerdy for once.
Well, this is only our second podcast, so.
Most of my tea to you is nerdy.
All right, well, make sure next week is nerdy.
Got you, fam. Okay. Speaking of next week, what are we talking about next week, Stephanie?
Oh. Next week, we decided last minute. We have a list of ideas of what we want to do, and we just struggled with what we were going to do next week. But we decided that we were going to talk about conspiracy theories surrounding Disney and Nickelodeon and their child actors.
It's going to be fun, because there's a lot of info out there.
Yep, and even a lot of, like, recent info of people coming out and saying things, which I'm really excited about.
Oh, really? Recent? Mm-hmm. So, we are still waiting to get approved by Apple Podcasts, so you can't find us there yet. However, we are approved on Anchor, Breaker, Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, and Spotify. So please, please, please subscribe, follow, whatever you do on these platforms to make sure that you get our latest episodes as we release them.
Yes, and if you are on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the MnS Show. We post our highlights on there. Maybe at some point we will post the full podcast. I don't know
We'll see.
But stay tuned.
So thank you so much for listening this week. We had a great time doing all of this research. Honestly, my mind is blown by half of this Britney Spears information. There's just so much. Yeah. And there will be more to come. So we will post an update as soon as we get final answers.
Yes. But we will see you guys next time.
And that's the Triple T.